Welcome back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about alcohol and obesity.
Uh-oh.
But before we get started, what's new? What's the haps? What do you got to plug?
Well, right now, I'm what I like to call fun employed.
Only for the weekend, though.
But only for the weekend, yeah. I finished my job on Friday, and I don't start my new job until Monday. So I have a whole weekend to say things like I'm fun employed, but realistically, I know that I'm not. I was joking that I don't have benefits right now, like until Monday. And so we were talking last night, and my friend was like, don't get injured. I was like, well, there's still the hospital. I just can't go to the dentist.
Yeah, it's not like the States where we gotta hide out in your house until benefits kick in again.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let your prescription lapse.
Oh no.
Ugh,
whole weekend.
Yeah.
Aren't we all just fun employed on the weekend?
No, because you have to, where you have to be on Monday. But I know where I have to be on Monday. So maybe, but y'all, I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. We're
I'm between jobs. I don't know.
You bum.
Yeah, at least I'm wearing pants.
Well, I'm wearing pants too.
Those are not pants. Those are sweatpants.
They're still pants.
I wasn't going to bring this up this early in the episode, but I opens the door to me today, and I'm like, I see you put on your Sunday best for our recording. Holy.
Listen, sweatpants. It's in the name. Pants.
Whatever you want to tell yourself to sleep at night, sir.
It's my Walmart wear.
I did my hair up nice to come out here today, and Isaiah doesn't even wear pants.
Not even trying today. What else you got going on? What do you got plugged?
What have we got going on? Enough? No, this will come out on Wednesday, so that Monday gig doesn't matter. I'm really playing a benefit on Thursday with the swing band.
Ooh.
It's to raise money for the Anglican church uptown, the Bells.
Ah, yes. And
so it's an auction and swing dance event, and I'm playing in the swing band. It's going to be pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
My that's to make sure the bell is all installed and fixed, right?
Yeah, so ding dongs again.
Yeah. It started. They started it up again the other day.
Yeah, so this is to keep it going, keep it dinging.
Yeah,
to finish the job. I don't know.
Well, my friend lives uptown, and she's like, I hate that bell.
I bet. You know what? I love the bell. I also live uptown, and I love the bell. It reminds me of it reminds me of a lot of things, but it keeps you on track because it's a timed thing. Obviously, I don't know I'm saying these things. But it reminds me of the musical Hairspray. She's like, oh, I can hear the bells. And I get that in my head every time I hear it.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I like the sound of church bells. It's usually pretty nice, but I also don't hear it very often. So
yeah,
I feel like every hour on the hour. It's not even every hour. That's every 15 minutes. Yeah,
but to me that becomes white noise, right? It's living next to a train tracks. When you first move in, you're like, oh man, how am I ever going to sleep at night? And then all of a sudden you snore right along with it.
That's true. You ready to get into our topic?
Yeah, sure. All right. So what'd you do last night?
Well, I went out drinking. Yeah, so let's talk about alcohol and obesity. There's some pretty obvious ones out there. It happens to most of us. It's called a beer gut. And I
don't know why you looked at me when you said that. That's freaking rude, Isaiah. Speak for yourself.
So I think that's the most obvious one is the beer gut. And it obviously comes from drinking too much beer, and beer has yeast and all the stuff that you're not supposed to put in your body.
And oftentimes it's not even just the beer. It's my mom always says, she's I'm laughing because I have a joke that goes, that's what my mom said. And that I cracked myself up. But my mom always says that it's not just the drinking, it's the lack of inhibition. So if you're trying to lose weight and then you've had a couple of drinks, even if they're a gin and soda water, which calorically isn't so bad, it's I don't even care if I eat these nachos. What's one day? And all of this stuff. But I think that's more for casual drinking and stuff too. If you're not an avid drinker, these things kind of play a role in what you're consuming, and that will have an effect. And by casual, I mean like every weekend kind of thing, but it's not a problematic drinking style necessarily.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Like, and it's like the especially if you're like going out at night, it's like the 2 a.m. Chicken shawarma or pizza or something like that too, right? Like it's like I just need, or the next morning I just need grease kind of thing, right? Or
you're out, even if it's like you go out to dinner and so then you're eating a fancy dinner, might as well have a glass of wine, and that just piles on calorically, and that obviously leads to more and more. And like we always say, everything's fine once in a while.
Yeah, no, it's definitely but it definitely can add up pretty quickly when you're drinking, especially when you're drinking like stuff that has high calories, like beer, where it's like one beer is like eating a loaf of bread.
I know. Well, you and I think about how there's some interesting things that I've learned over the years. Like you and I met at a bar, so
that's true.
It's not like any of us are strangers to the alcohol, or the obesity, as it turns out. What I have noticed in myself over the years, because there was a time where I was drinking very regularly, like daily, and two things come into play. Like I just said, one, the longer you're awake, the more you want to eat, because it's natural to get hungry every couple of hours.
True.
But if you go to bed at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, well, you're not craving a shawarma or a donair at 2 a.m. because
true.
You are asleep. And so the drinking and the social and all of that keeps you awake, is my point. I'm only halfway through my first coffee, folks. And then the other side of it is you don't get as good a sleep, and a lack of sleep can contribute to obesity as well, because it does affect the quality of your sleep.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely the lack, because like I said, I went out last night. I got home around like 1:50. Probably went to sleep around 2:30 and up by like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Right.
Did you have a snack when you got home?
I had toast.
You toast. So more bread. And not that I'm judging, but because of course you're going to want a snack when you haven't had a night of drinking. That's not an abnormal thing. And it's not like you're craving a salad.
Right. And I'm wondering if the dehydration of alcohol has an effect.
No, this is a thing I was just thinking about. If you're drinking beer, that is actually predominantly water. And while alcohol itself does dehydrate you, when I was in my heavy drinking mode and then I stopped, I had a hard time to keep up with the volume of water I needed to drink. To compensate for it, because it's a weird thing, and I'm not advocating for the beer, but when I was drinking like 4 of those 25-ounce mugs a night, I was getting quite a lot of water there. Yeah. And yes, there is some dehydration, but there's also a lot more hydration than one would expect.
I guess. I mean, that's the peeing all the time when at some point when you're drinking all the time. A lot.
No, that didn't happen to me.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, it's that the break the seal kind of situation.
No, it was one of those things where at Big Tide, they used to be like, have you peed? They didn't say it, but
just hanging out in a diaper at the bar.
No, you'd smell that.
Listen, I just judging a little.
I just had a strong bladder, or like I just could drink like 3.5 mugs, and then I'd get to the end of the night and be like, "Oh, time! It's time!
It is time." I mean, I can drink like 4 or 5 mugs, but then that first pee is like, I'm gonna pee every like.
No.
So there's this weird, when we talk about alcohol and obesity and people eating a lot when they drink, and I don't want to, how do I say this? So there's a thing where like, if you look at someone that's an alcoholic, a lot of alcoholics are typically not obese.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking that myself, because this is where the line is between like casual drinking and then eating and it being a fun adventure out. Whereas an alcoholic where you're actually dependent on the alcohol to get out of bed.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think it has to do with rather spend the money on alcohol than food? Is that
I suspect it's a lot of things considered. When you look at, obesity, there's a lot of biological components to that we have little to no control over. It's the same with alcoholism.
Yeah.
If you're dependent on the alcohol, you have a lot of biological factors that you have little to no control over. And so, and I don't know, like, don't take my word for it. There are professionals who would know a lot better than me.
If we are not professionals.
This is my hypothesis based on having previously lived with someone who was an alcoholic. It was a lot of that, what you just said. There were priorities, and the only priority was getting more alcohol when there was a desperate kind of state. Whereas with me, and I certainly at the time could pack away the booze, it was like, oh no, I don't have money, so I'm going to buy food, or I'm going to, prioritize other life sustaining things. But if I had extra cash, sure, let's go. But for me personally, it was always like, it was never the booze itself. It was the going out.
Right.
And the being at the bar and like having fun and all of those things. And yeah, sure, the booze was fun, but it wasn't the be all and end all for me. Whereas for an alcoholic, it is. It's not even fun anymore. It's absolutely necessary to not feel terrible.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of is the same thing for drug use and things like that. That's typical.
And then the inside, like, and we're not even talking about health at this point. We're literally just talking about obesity and the alcoholism itself, because they're both doing horrendous things to your insides.
Very much so. I mean, they do they do certain things, and it definitely is on either spectrum is not great for you, right?
No,
but. It's an interesting thought I had is what, because again, like you said, I typically don't see alcoholics that are fat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I certainly don't know every.
I don't know everyone, and I'm sure there are some. I'm sure
there's some. If you're a fat alcoholic,
but when I see someone that I know is an alcoholic, they are typically,
and there's often
on
like
the thinner side.
Like you mentioned, they're thinner, but they also have that distended gut.
Yes, they're not. Yeah, they have that like weird, that weird gut thing going on.
Yeah.
When it comes to like obesity and mixing alcohol in that, there is definitely even higher risks of things though, right? Like when we think about obesity, we think about like higher risk of heart disease and things like that, and then you mix alcohol into that also gives you higher risk of heart disease and things, right?
Of course, it's a cocktail that is not so fun. I know for me, like I've talked about recently, I got the beatus and prescribed metformin, and I was reading the label for metformin as like I do whenever I get a new prescription, because I'm like that, and it says it's highly advised to not drink while you're on metformin, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Then I was like, I wonder, but they're like, you can have a little bit, like it's fine. So I was like, if you can have a little bit, it must mean that it's safe enough. I wonder what the mix is. And it told me that, and the internet told me, it's because it'll make you feel real bad. I know that metformin already does have sometimes adverse effects on my belly.
Yeah, I mean that it does that with grease too. I think greasy foods. Too, with mixing it. I think when it comes to alcohol and diabetes, that's a whole other thing too, right? Because there's so much sugar in alcohol that it's like you have to be very conscious of what you're drinking.
Now, I'm going to say this wrong.
Yep.
But that's just the way it's going to be. But I was talking to, remember we had Dr. Mike Pelkey on last year, or almost a year ago now. We're talking about diabetes and alcohol not too long ago, just, around the dinner table. And
casual conversation.
Yeah, casual conversation with an endocrinologist. And what he was saying is, while alcohol will spike your sugar right away in the short term, it doesn't sustain like actual sugar. And I don't really understand what the difference is and what the ramifications of that are, but he said there was a difference.
Okay.
Which was interesting. And again, don't take my word for it. This is my interpretation of something that I probably didn't understand in the first place.
Yeah, no, I understand that. My wife Andrea, she's diabetic. We've always had time. And she has when she drinks, when she doesn't drink often, it spikes her blood sugar immediately.
But then the next day, is she generally fine?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, I think that's probably the point he was making.
Yeah. But you can, and a lot of people, you can tell like they get that flush, that red flush in their face and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is all due to your blood sugar spiking.
I get that from walking up the street.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about on this topic? Any thoughts?
I do actually. In fact, I have not really been drinking for a couple of months now.
Okay.
And not with any real intention to sustain that or whatever. I'm kind of just taking it day by day. And I have to say, I don't feel that different for the most part. But I had largely reduced my drinking anyway to once or twice a month. But I will say when I'm out, I don't mind not drinking.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, even like I went out to dinner last night and I used to Friday night, I'd book it to Big Tide and the goal was to see my friends and have fun, but the goal was to drink, and I would drink fast and I would drink a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. That I am trying to cut back. Obviously, I went out last night, but I've been trying not to drink as much as I have before.
And do you find you're trying to enjoy it more when you do?
Yes. Yeah. Think so.
What I found is even my mentality when I'm scrolling the internet, our good friends are hosting the beer fest coming right up, which will be a good time. And I highly recommend anybody get tickets because you'll have a blast. But for me, I find I don't think that's an event that I should go to and drink, but I certainly shouldn't go and not drink because that would be expensive. But maybe I'll just make a donation. But it's not appealing to me like it would have been even 6 months ago.
A beer fest is appealing to me because it's a tasting thing. It's about tasting things and stuff that people have. But I don't know if I'm going to this one because it's on the 16th. And I don't know if you know this, but there are a billion things happening on the 16th.
No, I don't know. Joke Spired is the 16th.
No Joke Spired is the 16th too. Oh my goodness. So there's the Christmas parade is, if it's still going, I don't know if they've canceled it yet, is the 16th.
Oh yeah, cool.
The beer fest is the 16th. There's a show at the Imperial Theater on the 16th.
What show?
I don't remember what it was, but there was something on the 16th at the Imperial Theater, I think. And then there was some Cirque du Soleil thing, esque thing happening
at TD Station
on the 16th.
Do you know what's awesome about all of that? Is that they kind of are all at different times. I don't think any one person could go to all of those things, but I think people who really, really interested could go to two of those things. Beer Fest's runtime is 3 to 7.
Yeah, so you just done at 7 and then go to
the Imperial, and then No Jokes Bar doesn't start till usually 8:30 or 9 or something. And so you couldn't go to an Imperial show and then go to No Jokes Bar, but you could go to Beer Fest, the No Jokes Bar, if that was the event that you wanted to do. And then the Santa Claus parade, that's usually earlier in the day, 5:30 or 6.
Yeah.
And there is some potential there, although it'll be hard for people to get to the shows at TD Station and Imperial with the Santa Claus. I don't know why I'm calling it the Santa Claus parade. What is wrong with me?
The Santa Claus parade.
With the Santa Claus parade. I actually think that's kind of good for St. John, although it'll be frustrating around that 6 to 7 mark.
I don't. My other question is what for the Christmas parade is where What's the route it's going to take? I guess it's going to go down Union Street.
Yeah, always does.
But it doesn't. It usually goes down King Street. It can't go down King Street.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's construction.
But it'll be done by then, won't it?
Oh.
No, it must be. I don't know. They must have planned this. This is fine. I don't know why we're starting to city plan this operation. Right now. Listen to a couple of fat podcasters talk about how to plan city
planning. Oh goodness, and we got way off topic too.
Yeah. Let's have a drink.
I think we should wrap it up here. Okay. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Caitlin Dean on the Facebook, and at Kate and Isaiah Living Large also on Facebook. Kate D on Instagram. Other places, I guess.
Other places. I'm at Maritime Brews on all the social medias. Talk about drinking. At Maritime Brews on all the social medias as well. We have our Buy Me a Coffee still going to get that camera. And what else? I can't think of anything else that I'm supposed to plug. Oh, like, share, and subscribe. That's the thing I'm supposed to do. Yes, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, all those places, if you can like, share, and subscribe there. Or if you want to come on over to YouTube and see the video of us chatting away, hop on over to that. And if you are watching on YouTube, if you can like, share, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff over there, we would appreciate it there as well.
And thank you to all of our listeners who actually tune in each week or sometimes, or, I have really appreciated lately a couple of people that a place that I used to work, having listened. So hello to my former colleagues. I miss you. And sorry to make that personal.
Well, thank you all for listening.
Hi, Katie and Melvin.
We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.